Hare Krishna, good evening. Please accept my most humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Omajnana timrandasya janansana shlakaya sakshur militam yena tasmai sigurave namah. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamini Namaste Saraswata Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Desatarani. Srila Prabhupada ki. We continue this evening with yes, it's night. We continue with our study of Nectar of Instruction, Upadeshamrita. And we are discussing the third verse. In the first verse, Rupa Goswami said, Vacho vegam anasakroda vegam jiva vegam uttarapasta vegam etam vegan yo visahita dira sarvan apimam pritivim nasisyat. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind demands the action of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genital is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So when one becomes fully Krishna conscious, then one controls the mind and the senses. One controls the mind and the senses by engaging them in Krishna's service. But to come to that platform, when the mind is always thinking of Krishna, there are things not to do and things to do. There are things which are going against the cultivation of bhakti. And that we discussed many weeks ago. Atyahara payashascha prajalpa niyamagra jana sangam salolyam sa sadbir bhaktir vinashati. One's devotional service is spoiled when one becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities. Eating more than necessary and collecting more funds than required. Endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. Talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. Practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement, or rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically. Associating with worldly-minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness and being greedy for mundane achievements. It's important that we hear this again and again. This nectar of instruction should be our guideline. So we are presently discussing verse 3. And these are items which are favorable for the cultivation of bhakti. And these are the most important. Because if we engage in activities for the cultivation of bhakti, we don't have time for the activities mentioned in the previous verse. At least not if we are fully engaged. Text 3. Utsa nisyadaya tatat karma pavartanat. Sangatyaga satovite sadbir bhaktir pashidati. There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. Being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence, being patient, acting according to regulative principles, and that is what we are discussing now. These regulative principles are Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Varnam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Then abandoning the association of non-devotees, following in the footsteps of previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So this point 4, acting according to regulative principles, Shravana Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archam Varnam Dasyam Sakyam Atmani Vedanam. They are mentioned in this purport on the verse spoken by Prahlad Maharaj to his father Hiranyakashipu. We have been discussing for the last weeks this purport. And we discussed about Shravanam, hearing, Kirtanam, the importance of reciting and chanting the scriptures and chanting the holy name. And then Smaranam, the importance of remembrance, Padasevanam, worship the Supreme Lord, the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, and especially to Archanam, deity worship. Archanam we have been discussing for a few weeks now, deity worship, and we are at the end of the last paragraph dealing with this deity worship. And we have heard so many rules and regulations in deity worship. In deity worship, there are many rules and regulations. One cannot just worship the deity. One must be qualified. One must receive second initiation. One must be studying the chanting of the holy name, have the cleanliness of a Brahman. But for Shravana Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam, hearing the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, remembering and speaking, discussing about it, and remembering, there are no rules and regulations. You just do that. But for deity worship, a lot of rules and regulations. So, because the Shravana Kirtanam Vishnu Padas say Shravana Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam, these three are called Bhagavad Vidhi, no rules. But Pancharataka Vidhi is deity worship, a lot of rules. And we are at the end of these rules. So these are also mentioned in detail. They are discussed in Nectar of Devotion. So we will continue reading this purport. That so can someone read this purport, which is on the screen? In other places, the following offences are listed. So please, if someone can read.
In other places, the following offenses are listed. A. To be against the scriptural injunctions of the Vedic literature, or to disrespect within one's heart the Srimad Bhagavatam, while externally falsely accepting its principles. B. To introduce differing shastras. C. To chew pan and betel before the deity. D. To keep flowers for worship on the leaf of a castor oil plant. E. To worship the deity in the afternoon. F. To sit on the altar or to sit on the floor to worship the deity without a seat. G. To touch the deity with the left hand while bathing the deity. H. To worship the deity with a stale or used flower. I. To spit while worshiping the deity. J. To advertise one's glory while worshiping the deity. K. To apply tilak to one's forehead in a curved way. L. To enter the temple without having washed one's feet. M. To offer the deity food cooked by an uninitiated person. N. To worship the deity and offer boga to the deity within the vision of an uninitiated person or non-Vaishnav. O, to offer worship to the deity without worshipping Vaikuntha deities like Ganesh. P, to worship the deity while perspiring. Q, to refuse flowers offered to the deity. R, to take a vow or oath in the holy name of the Lord.
Hare Krishna, thank you. I will comment on some of these principles. So A is to be against the scriptural injunctions of the Vedic literature or disrespect within one's heart the Srimad Bhagavatam while externally falsely accepting its principles. This is also a principle which will hamper our advancement in chanting the holy name. It's a fourth offense that means the fourth offense is about the Vedic literature. Do not accept the conclusion of the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. So what does that mean for us? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Vedasa sarver aham eva vedya. I'm to be known by the Vedas. So that's the purpose of the Vedas, to know Krishna. And this is the conclusion of the Vedas. Therefore, this conclusion is taught by us by books like Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and the books of the six Goswamis. The six Goswamis has collected from, they have collected the essence of the Vedic literature, from all the Vedic literature. And what is that essence? That essence is devotional service. So they have they went through practically all the Vedic literature for us that would take lifetimes to do that. But they collected the essence. And this essence we find in the literature of the Goswamis. The six Goswamis are followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the direct followers. And it's important for us also to know these six Goswamis, their histories, and which books they wrote on instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That the six Goswamis, there are 8 verses glorifying the six Goswamis. And that's called Sri Sri Sat Goswami Astakam. This has been written by Srinivas Acharya, because the six Goswamis, they are Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, his brother, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami from South India, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, and Sri Jiva Goswami and Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Well, Jiva Goswami, he was instructed by Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami. He was initiated by Sanatan Goswami, and Jiva Goswami, he wrote the essence of all the Vaishnava theology in Isat Sandarbhas, which is really the foundation of our philosophy. And he had 3 disciples, and one of these disciples was Srinivas Acharya, also Narottam Das Thakur, and then there was Shyamananda, were 3 disciples of Jiva Goswami. But the Srinivas Acharya has written this Shishi Sat Goswami Astakam. In the second verse he mentioned this. He says, Nana Chastra Vicharanaika Nipuna Sadharma Samstapako Lokanamitakarinu Tribhuvane Manya Saranya Karo Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nandena Mataliko Vande Rupa Sanatana Ragujiro Shri Jiva Gopalako. I offer my respectful obeisance to the 6 Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, Sri Kapala Bhatta Goswami, who are expert in scrutinizing, study all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. They are honored all over the 3 worlds because they are worth taking shelter of, because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Shishi, Radha and Krishna. So this is the second verse of the Sat Goswami Astakam by Srinivasa Acharya. And he's saying that these Goswamis, they studied all the revealed scriptures. Why? With the aim of establishing eternal religious principles. That's bhakti. Bhakti is the eternal religious principle because it's a natural activity of the spirit soul to love Krishna, to have this relationship with Krishna. So for us, because there are many Vedic literature and they have different purposes, but they are all pointing ultimately to one purpose, and that's re-establishing our relationship with Krishna. But there are instructions who are helping us directly to come to that point, and there are instructions in the Vedas which take a more gradual approach. So the 6 Goswamis gives us what directly brings us in contact with Krishna, from this Vedic literature. Because there are 2 paths in the Vedas, Pravriti Marg and Nivriti Marg. Nivriti Marg is a path of renunciation. And Rupa Goswami said, real renunciation means that one understands that everything belongs to Krishna and should be used in his service. And that is real renunciation. Nothing is mine, but I use it in Krishna's service. And that's Nivriti Marg. Pravriti Marg is another path for elevation first to the heavenly planets, enjoy there, come back to the earthly planets, and go up and down a few times, and then one realizes, oh, what am I doing? I'm going up and down. I'm staying in this material world. How to get out of this material world? And then one performs tapasya, that means performing of austerities, and one start to meditate on the absolute truth after being purified and so on, and goes to higher and higher planetary systems, and finally leaves this material world when Brahma's life is over. But this is a very long path, and it's not recommended in the Vedas, really. But it's for those who want to enjoy this world and healthy, be elevated. So we take the Nivrita Marg, and the real Nivrita, or path of renunciation, is Krishna consciousness. So we should not be able to distinguish these two paths in the Vedas. And therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, they are giving us this essence of the scriptures. We don't have to look in all this Vedic literature. They have done it for us. We have done so that we don't have to lose our time with this. The research is done, and they are giving it to us freely. And essence of that is this Upatishamrita. So for us to be sure we are following the injunctions of the Vedic literature, we follow the path of the Mahajans. The Mahajans, they have understood the essence of this Vedic literature, the Mahajans. And the Bhagavatam mentioned different 12 Mahajans. That's Yamaraj explains that to the Yamadutas. He says, Svayambur Nardasambhu Kumara Kapilo Mano. Pralado Janako Bhishmo Bali Vyaya Sakirvam. Lord Brahma, Bhagavan Narda Muni. Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, Kapila Dev, Swambhuva Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Shanak Maharaj, Grandfather Bhishma, Bali Maharaj, Sukadev Goswami, and myself know the real religious principles. So we are learning from these Mahajans, and that's what we are learning here in the Bhagavatam now from Prahlad Maharaj, which is one of these Mahajans. The four Kumaras, their teachings are in the Bhagavatam, especially in the beginning of the 11th canto, where they instruct King Nimi that Janak Maharaj is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. He's given by Krishna as an example of a king who acted out of duty, that in Krishna consciousness. Janak Maharaj is the father of Sita, who became the consort of Lord Ram, and is mentioned in the Ramayana. And that, of course, we have heard about Bhishma Dev, also a Mahajan, in the Bhagavatam class. The whole 9th chapter was on Bhishma Dev. Of course, Sukadev Goswami, we hear the Bhagavatam from Sukadev Goswami. Bali Maharaj became a Mahajan. He gave everything to Vamandev and rejected his Karmakanda guru, who told him not to give everything to Krishna. But the purpose of the Vedas is to give everything to Krishna. He was a Karmakandiya, a Smarta Brahman. Smarta Brahman are materialistic. They want an enjoyment through the practice of the Vedas and go to the heavenly planets, and all these things are mentioned. But Bali Maharaj had rejected that and established before his guru, in his false guru, that the principles, the pure principles of pure devotional service, that and Lord Kapila Dev, these teachings are in the 3rd canto, who explains all the principles of devotional service. Swayambhavam Anu, his life was exemplary in Krishna consciousness. That so all these religious principles are explained by these Mahajans, by their example. But our great Mahajan is Srila Prabhupada. He explains us how to practice these principles in these modern times in Kali Yuga. So yes, this is the first point, that B is to introduce different shastras. That's the same point as in the sense that, yeah, we have to follow these marjans, not introduce something new or introduce shastras which are not directly pointing to bhakti. C, to chew pan and bottle before the deity. I think that's clear. And to keep flowers of worship on the leaf of castor oil plant. A castor oil plant is very sticky, the castor oil, and therefore that's probably the reason why we don't put flowers on these leaves. And then to worship the deity in the afternoon. No, in the afternoon is rest. We put the deity at rest after lunch until 4 o'clock. That to sit on the altar or to sit on the floor to worship the deity, we should always sit on a mat. That best is a straw mat, kusha grass mat, but we should sit on a seat, on a mat, when we not on the floor when we worship the deity. To touch the deity with the left hand while bathing the deity. Now the left hand is for keeping the body clean. We don't touch the deity with the left hand. Also, if you have to take the deity with your two hands, you use a handkerchief, but you don't touch the deity with the left hand. And we cannot worship the deity with a stale or used flower, always first-class flowers. To spit while worshipping the deity, even while not worshipping the deity, this is not a good practice. And to advertise one's glory while worshipping the deity. So we don't glorify anyone before the deity unless the spiritual master. In principle, that should also not be done, but it's a minor offense. Krishna, because the spiritual master is very dear to Krishna. So, because there was a discussion in Radhadesh this is nearly 30 years ago. The question was, should we worship Prabhupada? Because we have first at 7:15 in the morning, we have the darshan of the deity. And then after that, we worship Srila Prabhupada. And we stand with our back to the deity while doing that. So worshipping someone before the deity is mentioned here as an offense. So we were thinking what to do. And the GBC became involved and so on, how to solve this. Because after worship of darshan of the deities, we could close the curtain and then worship the Prabhupada. But we came to the conclusion this is a minor offense, because it's a worship of a pure devotee. And when we worship him, we should turn as such that we don't stay with our back to the deities. And by that it was accepted. To apply tilak on one's forehead in a curved way. Yeah, in the beginning that's some practice to get it straight. But we have the example how Prabhupada put up tilak. And then to enter the temple without having washed one's feet. So once you take a bath, the feet should be clean. To offer the deity food cooked by an uninitiated person. So that's an important instruction. If we are not yet initiated, we don't worship the deity. We worship a picture of Krishna, and we are, yes, we can offer our food to a picture of Krishna, that's also Krishna, but not to the deity. That is food cooked by an uninitiated person. To worship the deity, one must have second initiation. But it mentioned here uninitiated. So the question is, can one with first initiation, can one cook? The point is here, this was written before Prabhupada introduced that. Before Prabhupada, being initiated meant getting Brahman initiation. That's initiation. There was only one initiation. But Prabhupada split that in Harinam and Harinam initiation and in Brahminical initiation. That so he started that. Also Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj did this, but in principle, initiation means Brahminical initiation in before, and therefore it said food cooked by an uninitiated person. But in practice, it means to worship the deity, you must chant the Gayatri mantra. Om Bhurabhuvah that is the first of the 7 mantras that Brahmins chant. And that's a Vedic instruction. One must chant the Gayatri mantra. One can only chant the Gayatri mantra when one is second initiated. So that means here to offer the deity food cooked by someone who didn't get second initiation. That's what it means. That because uninitiated meant not getting initiated, and before Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj initiated means Brahminical initiation. There was only one initiation. But Prabhupada, for practical reasons, of course instructed by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj for sure, has split that up to give everyone a chance, even those who are not coming to the Brahminical platform to chant. And you need only Harinam initiation to go back to Godhead. But to worship the deity, you need second initiation. Now, as we see the time goes on, and that's not strictly followed anymore by devotees in ISKCON, but this is not good. We should stay to the original standard as Prabhupada gave us. And then to worship the deity and offer bhoga to the deity within the vision of an uninitiated person or non-Vaishnava. It's because non-Vaishnavas, non-devotees, who do not follow the 4 regulative principles, they are on a subhuman platform. That's a platform of the animals, and that's the reality. They identify with the body, and their consciousness is animalistic, and one cannot worship the deity and offer bhoga within the vision, especially offer all preparations. Therefore, when we cook in the deity kitchen, and we bring the offering, we put a handkerchief on it that nobody can see it, because otherwise people may see it and want to eat it, and that conscious goes into it. So in Krishna consciousness, we are very, very aware of the value of consciousness. that Krishna wants our love, and that consciousness should go into the food, not this animalistic consciousness that spoils the offering. So the subtle in Krishna consciousness is very important. Subtle means consciousness. Where is our consciousness? Then to offer worship to the deity without worshipping Vaikuntha deities like Ganesh. Yeah, so that's a tradition we don't worship Ganesh, but Ganesh is known to be removing the obstacles for devotional service. Therefore, Ganesh is usually put at the entrance of the temple above the door, and we ask for the blessings of Ganesh to remove the obstacles on our path of devotional service. But we don't worship Ganesh. One devotee asked, it was a big collector in ISKCON, and he asked Srila Prabhupada, can we worship Ganesh to get more Lakshmi for Krishna? And Prabhupada laughed and said, yes, you can do, but you should give me at least $100,000 every month. So it's not recommended. We are not worshipping Ganesh, but ask for the blessings of Ganesh. So to worship the deity while to worship the deity while perspiring. Yeah, it makes one unclean. To refuse flowers offered to the deity. If one offers you flowers, offer prasadam, it's prasadam which have been offered to the deities, we accept. So to take a vow or oath in the holy name of the Lord, that we never do. So yes. Can someone read the next paragraph? If one commits any of the above offenses.
Sure, I'll give it a try.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna Maharaj.
Thank you.
Let me get my. If one commits any or the above offenses, one must read at least one chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. This is confirmed in the Skandra Purana, Avante Kanda. Similarly, there is another injunction stating that one who reads the 1,000 names of Vishnu can be released from all offenses. In the same Skanda Purana, Reva Kanda, it is said that one who recites prayers to Tulsi or sows a Tulsi seed is also freed from all offenses. Similarly, one who worships the Salagrama Shila can also be relieved of offenses. In the Brahmanda Purana, it is said that one who worships Lord Vishnu, whose 4 hands bear a conch shell, disc, lotus flower, and club, can be relieved from the above offenses. In the Adi Varaha Purana, it is said that the worshipper who has committed offenses may fast for 1 day at the holy place known as Shukarva and then bathe in the Ganges. Hare Krishna.
So thank you. So yes, all these offenses are listed, but what to do if we commit these offenses? It's not easy to follow all these rules, and naturally we commit some minor offenses. It's not to be avoided. Therefore, we have prayers that pujaris chant after worship of the Lord. And in these prayers, they are prayers asking for forgiveness. And so after worshiping, they are reciting these prayers. But another way is you read one chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Whether you worship the deity or not, it's good to do that anyway, every day. That make you acquainted with Bhagavad Gita. And that in Ujjain, the devotees after Mangala Aarti, they chant together a half a chapter every morning of Bhagavad Gita. And they go through the Bhagavad Gita gradually. Every month they go to the Bhagavad Gita completely. So we can chant every day one chapter in Sanskrit or in English or in your own language. That and by that the offenses are forgiven. Of course, we have to make sure we try to avoid them as much as possible. So yeah, this is confirmed in the Skanda Purana Avantikanta. Similarly, there is another instruction stating that one reads 1,000 names of Vishnu. Yeah, and then Vishnu Nam Sahasra. These 1,000 names of Vishnu, it's that they are mentioned also in the Mahabharata, because we have the 9th chapter of the first canto in the Bhagavatam, where Bhishma Dev speaks to Yudhishthira Maharaj, but that is elaborately explained in the Mahabharata. And there, Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking is asking Bhishma Dev, yes, how can we become free from these offenses? He asked also many other questions. I don't remember all them, but Bhishma Dev replies because Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and so on, and so Bhishma Dev replies with reciting these 1,000 names of Vishnu. And then it is said that one who recites prayers to Tulsi or sows a Tulsi seed is also freed from offenses. Therefore, we worship always Tulsi together with the deities. Well, we keep Tulsi together with the deities. We worship her when the curtains are closed. And that's for the same reason what we that we recited before, that one cannot glorify a devotee in front of the deities. Therefore, we close the curtain when we start to chant the Tulsi prayers. But worshipping Tulsi frees us also from these offenses. Therefore, always after deity worship, we worship Tulsi. And that is a good practice that we should continue. So Tulsi frees one from offenses. Similarly, one who worships the Salagram Shila can be relieved of offenses. So yes, the Salagram Shila is the husband of Tulsi. Salagram is Krishna. Therefore, Salagram Shila is only pleased when we offer Tulsi leaves to Salagram Shila. And that also relieves us from offenses. In the Brahmanda Purana, it is said that one who worships Lord Vishnu, whose 4 hands bear a conch shell disc lotus flowering club, can be relieved from the above offenses. Yes. In the Adivara Purana, it is said that the worshipper who has committed offenses may fast for 1 day, at the holy place as Sarkarav and then bathe in the Ganges. Yes, the fasting one day is also good if you can do it. Now we have here, yeah. Can someone read the next chapter, the next paragraph, please? In the process of worshipping the deity.
Sure. In the process of worshiping the deity, it is sometimes enjoined that one worship the deity within the mind. In the Padma Purana, Uttarakhanda, it is said, all persons can generally worship within the mind. The Gautamaya Tantra says, for a sannyasi who has no home, worship of the deity within the mind is recommended. In the Narada Pancharatra, it is stated by Lord Narayana that worship of the deity within the mind is called Mānasa-puja. One can become free from the four miseries by this method. Sometimes worship from the mind can be independently executed. According to the instruction of Avarhotra Muni, one of the Nava-yogendras, as mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, one may worship the deity by chanting all the mantras. 8 kinds of deities are mentioned in the Shastra, and the mental deity is one of them. In this regard, the following description is given in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, that's worshiping the deity within the mind. To worship the deity in the mind, one must be advanced. Because otherwise the mind will take you away. But so that is for the advanced devotee, worshipping the deity within the mind. But you can worship the deity in the mind, and it will have the same effect as worshipping the deity externally. This is in the Bhagavatam we find nice, in the Nectar of Devotion we find nice stories of a Brahmin who was very poor, and but he was worshipping he was worshipping the Lord in the mind, and he was preparing in his mind a golden throne for Krishna, and he invited Krishna to sit on the throne. Krishna sat on the throne, and he was worshipping the deity with so many paraphernalia in the mind. And then he was in his mind cooking for the deity, sweet rice. And he was cooking, and then he was thinking at a certain moment that I've cooked, but sweet rice is more tasty when it's cold. So he was thinking, is it still cold? Is it still hot or cold? And in his mind, he was putting his finger of his right hand in the rice to see if it was cool. And suddenly he burned his finger, and he came out of meditation, and he saw that his finger was really, really burnt. And at that time, the Lord of Vaikuntha, he was smiling, and then his Lakshmi was saying to Lord Narayan, why are you smiling? And at that moment, he brought the Brahman to Vaikuntha and explained the entire story. That is explained in the Nectar of Devotion. So this worship in the mind that Narada Muni says is Mānasa-puja, and it reveals one from the miseries, from the 4 miseries, from all the miseries in this world. Because if one is absorbed, the mind is absorbed in Krishna. It's not absorbed in the body and its miseries. and yes, then it's mentioned Avyotra Muni, one of the Navayogendras. So this Navayogendras, they are also Mahajans, were instructing King Nimi that the Navayogendras are 9 sons of King Rishabhadev, Paramahamsa sons. They were all liberated. And they were traveling all over the universe to instruct anyone that in devotional service. And they say you may also worship the deity by chanting all the mantras. So in the mind you can chant all the mantras. These mantras that one can learn when one has second initiation, how these mantras for worshipping the deities. But there you can also say them in English. That's what Prabhupada said, that the meaning of these mantras. That so 8 kinds of deities are mentioned in the Shastra, and the mental deity is one of them. Yeah, we have many deities, deities made of stone, of jewels, and of earth. So many. That then the mental deity is one of them. That's interesting. Is if you have every morning Mangalarti, like I did the first 10 years of my devotional service, I was in Radhadesh. I had every morning Mangalarti before Radha Gopinath. And what's the result? If I want to think of Radha Gopinath now, I can. Because its image is imprinted in my mind by all these mornings. And so that is the advantage that that by attending Mangal Arti, that the deity becomes imprinted in your mind. So I think we have one more paragraph. We can finish that. If someone can read the next paragraph. In the city of Mānasa-puja.
In the city of Pura, long ago there resided a Brahmana who was poverty-stricken, but innocent and not dissatisfied. One day he held a discourse in an assembly of Brahmanas concerning how to worship the deity in the temple. In that meeting, he also heard that the deity may be worshipped within the mind. After this incident, the Brahmana, having bathed in the Godavari river, began mentally worshiping the deity. He would wash the temple within his mind, and then in his imagination, he would bring water from all the sacred rivers in golden and silver water pots. He collected all kinds of valuable paraphernalia for worship, and he worshipped the deity very gorgeously, beginning from bathing the deity and ending with offering arti. Thus he felt great happiness. After many years had passed in this way, one day, within his mind, he cooked nice sweet rice with ghee to worship the deity. He placed the sweet rice on a golden dish and offered it to Lord Krishna. But he felt that the sweet rice was very hot, and therefore he touched it with his finger. He immediately felt that his finger had been burned by the hot sweet rice, and thus he began to lament. While the Brahmana was in pain, Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha began smiling, and the goddess of fortune inquired from the Lord why he was smiling. Lord Vishnu then ordered his associates to bring the Brahmana to Vaikuntha. Thus the Brahmana attained the liberation of Samipya, the facility of living near the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So, yes, that's the story that I told, and it's here also in the purport. So next time we will start with Vandanam, importance of prayers as a part of deity worship. Any questions, please?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Yes. Okay, so I don't have deities, but we have the pictures and the little figurines, and I do a dry flower arrangement that I put to the altar. Should I not be doing dried flower arrangements?
Yes, whatever you want to offer out of love, you can do.
Okay.
No problem.
All right. I'm trying to minimize my offenses, and I know I'm still relatively new, but I want to make sure that I'm following the protocol. And I had spoke with Jagannath Charan last week after the class the next day. So I'm no longer doing the Tulsi RT after my morning program in the same room. My Tulsi plant's dead, so I'm waiting for another baby to come, and then I'll start doing that out in the garden in the morning.
Yeah.
So other than that, thank you for the awesome class. Thank you for all your wisdom that you share with us. It's muchly appreciated. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you. The purpose is to improve our worship and avoid the offenses, and that will help us to advance. That it is. Prahlad Maharaj always told me, first become conscious and then Krishna conscious. So we become conscious of all the principles that we have follow, which helps us to purify the mind. And when the mind is purified, then we can think of Krishna. And the idea is connect with Krishna every moment. To think of Krishna every moment. So Krishna mentions that in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. He says, Tasma sarvesha kalsya mamanusya yudyasa mayakpito manobudir mam avesha asamsaya. Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duties of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will come to me without fail. So if you always think of Krishna, we will go to Krishna. And that's the purpose, to prepare us for that, for the end of life, which may come at every moment. Therefore, it's so important. And if we follow all these instructions, this guidance from Rupa Goswami, from the Goswamis, we will be able gradually to make progress and fix our mind on Krishna and feel ecstatic every moment. Thank you. Something else? Hare Krishna. Looking forward then to see you next week. Jai Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.